Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. Happy Wednesday, and we do have the official launch date today of the Fallen Princely Titan event, which we can see in the events window. However, I do want to talk about why a lot of you should be waiting until tomorrow to get kick-started on this, because there's a lot of events. We do have the Gear Hunters, which has started. My head's in the way, but the Gear Hunters, which has started today. However, there's a bunch of events coming soon that you probably want to wait for to double or even triple dip on this. I want to talk about that and more, including the rewards in the Titan event, now that we can see, of course, the full window. Now, before we get started with that, though, don't forget that you can use the QR code in the top right hand of the screen to get Grand Oak Padrag absolutely free. And then we have Zargala, Tagore, and Farrakhan the Fat at accounts level 10, 20, and 30. And don't forget about this guy, Pelops the Victor, from the March Anniversary Fusion event. And all you got to do is use the promo code RAID7 in the first 48 hours of a brand new account. Okay, so we have the Princely Titan event. It has launched today, and you can see what the milestones 1, 2. This is similar to most Titan events, milestone 1, 2, 3, and 4, or 5, right? And you can see it's you could blindfold yourself and walk your way to a 3 red. Like, it's not that hard. However, if you do want to get to the 5 red soul, this is pretty easy. 600 out of potential 1750. It's like a third of the event. It's pretty easy. You don't need to do a single summoning event. However, if you do want to go further, particularly possibly the 1000 and more, right? If you're trying to get any of this stuff, if you're trying to get the 5 red Folens, I talked about it in yesterday's video, but if you're trying to get here, you will need to participate in summoning events and other events. Maybe, perhaps there's going to be a surprise Deck of Fates or Path. I'm not sure. But at the very least, the 2 summoning events that we're expected to have Friday, and then, of course, the following Friday. So Summon and Rush, which is already in the calendar, which I talked about yesterday, and then presumably a Champion Chase, or you never know. Maybe they'll replace. They've sometimes replaced it with a Path event that includes Titan points as well. So I don't think it's been officially confirmed yet. Now, tomorrow, for me, just as, and I mentioned this in yesterday's video, but in case it wasn't clear, I will be going for the 3 red. It is very easy to do, like I mentioned. About a third of the points. You can do this on other events that are not so difficult. If you are wanting to save your shards, I don't blame you for the July fusion or beyond. We'll talk about that later, because there's a lot of suspicion that the July fusion may be the first time where you might be able to actually use your fusion tokens. Fusion token. No, wrong button. Fusion tokens up here, right? So if you've been keeping up with everything, you'll have 3 fusion tokens. And a lot of people are not really looking forward to the July Fusion character, because it's a Dark Elf Bomber character, and we may or may not really need that. So we might actually be able to use the alternative fusion method, and we'll talk about more about that later when we decide about what you should be considering if you're going to do that. But nonetheless, you still have to complete a fusion event, right? Which means you need these shards. So it is a good idea that if you're free to play, or if you don't have a lot of shards saved, you should probably hold on to them and wait for the July fusion event in 2 weeks. That way, that in order to complete the fusion, which even if you're swapping a character out, you still need to clear the fusion, which requires shards, fragments, and other things to be able to clear those events. But we have some events starting tomorrow. We have the Raya's Madness Tournament, aka Event Dungeon Tournament, is starting tomorrow, which is going to give you some points there. And if I look at the calendar, which I'm doing here in the background, Raya's Madness Tournament will give you 50 Titan points. And then we have the Champion Training. And this is the big one, because this starts tomorrow. But you can also overlap this with Gear Hunters. All of this, actually, in fact, overlaps with Gear Hunters. So another reason why you don't want to start Gear Hunters today. However, Fire Knight Turn Attack does start soon. Right? Recording this video will be soon. By the time you watch this, probably has already started. So this is safe. The Champion Training Tournament, however, is worth a lot of points. We're going to be covering that more tomorrow, but it is worth 100 points. And I'm going to just share with you, and for those that are still not up to date with how to do this faster, is to use the brew upgrade feature. It's there for a reason. I'm just going to share this with you as what I would do. You know, you could either do this on 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, whatever characters, right? But whenever you upgrade your characters, or you have spare characters to use brews on, you go and you put 1 brew for a 2-star, two. Sorry, one. I was using the wrong fingers. One brew for a 2-star, 2 brews for a 3-star, 4 brews for a 4-star, and 5 brews for a 5-star. And that is the fastest way to get quick points for a champion training event. Again, there's CVC running right now, but obviously, don't do this now. Make sure you're waiting until tomorrow to do this. But that is going to be a very easy, quick way to get points fast without having to do anything, without having to do any energy spending on champion training. We also have, of course, that is a big one. Fire Knight turn attack, I think it's 40. I just wanted to double check here on the calendar. It is 40. So all the turn attacks are worth 40. So right off the bat, we have 40 here today. We have 50 from the Rias tournament and 100. This is 190 total. And then, of course, the Gear Hunters is live. And that's going to be 200, so 220 and 270. So you're getting almost, within these 4 events, you're almost halfway to that 3 red if you just finish all this. There's 80 points for Gear Hunters, which is quite astounding. On top of that, and I'm not sure if it's going to overlap again, actually, so we have 3 days, and I think the turn attack is also 3 days, because the next one after that is going to be Ice Golem turn attack, and that's going to be on Friday. That, actually, you know what? It still overlaps. So even the Ice Golem turn attack will overlap the Gear Hunters event. However, I do want to let people know that turn attack events typically clear a lot faster than a regular tournament, because you don't need to spend as much energy to clear those. So you will probably still need to do a little bit of grinding on the Gear Hunters event to be able to clear it. And I did mention this in another video, but I'm going to do it here today. So the fastest way to just, like, energy for energy, or energy to points ratio, the fastest way to do this is to do stage 3. I do this sometimes where if I want to spend less energy but still get the Gear Hunters event cleared, I stick someone like Alice. The reason why I use Alice is her animations are so fast. It is, I think she might be one of the fastest characters. Let me know if you have someone else. Literally, I can do this in a second, maybe 2 with some loading times, right? And then I go back there and I click this. And this is literally the fastest way that you can clear Gear Hunters. You get very good points for Gear Hunters by doing this, because at the end of the day, it's more about 3-star blue and purple drops rather than the other ones. I guess occasionally I get an ancient shard, so I forgot about that. Well, you can still get ancient shards from these events. So I won't say no to the ancient shard. But you're going to walk away with a good amount of energy to point ratios on Gear Hunters by doing it this way. This is the fastest way. And it's very timely, in fact. So I think it's one of the, as long as we have that event dungeon, it is one of the, by far, the best ways to clear Gear Hunters and quick. So if you do want to do that, but I would wait to do what I just did after some of the other events. So we have the Fire Knight turn attack, we have the Ice Golem turn attack, that's going to be on Friday. Champion Training and Rise Madness Tournament. If you still need to bridge the gap there on Gear Hunters afterwards, make sure that you do it on stage 3. It's just the most efficient. If you don't care about energy efficiency, then, you know, farm the top end, whatever the highest stage that you get. I'm actually going to go all the way to 4,500 because I actually want those legendary materials, because it's still valuable, and you never know what you're going to get when it comes to that. And actually, they're pretty decent. The Skull of Treason, I don't really need the Gilded Pinion, but this is the Skull of Treason. And even if you don't land in the event category, you can still get yourself a Wand of Submission, possibly as well. So those are still very useful for my account. So I'm going to be pushing a little bit harder on that Gear Hunters there. So anyways, this is just all to say that make sure you wait until tomorrow to do the bulk of your eventing, because you don't want to don't want to waste your energy spending when you can double or triple dip on something else. That being said, Clan versus Clan is running right now, but it's not personal. It's not a personal CVC, so it is what it is. If you want to push a little bit harder because of that, then be my guest. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Before I go, don't forget to use the QR code in the top right hand of the screen to get Grand Oak Pad Drag, Zargala, Tagor, and Farrakhan the Fat. Don't forget. Also, of course, this amazing legendary, we have Pelops the Victor here at within the first 48 hours of a brand new account. And all you got to do is use the promo code RAID7. That's it from me, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.